This is an introduction and training video to one of the main features of KPI Fire. You can use this video along with your user login and you can complete the first steps of your training on the projects area of the software. So as you're watching this video, you're going to want to log into your KPI Fire account and you're going to want to pause this video in a couple of places so that you can stop along the way and complete some activities inside the software. The first thing you're going to want to do is get logged into the software. Once you log in, we're going to have you click on the Projects tab on the main menu. This is the main menu up here. And the first thing we want you to do is click New Project. So you're going to create your very first project in here. What we want you to do is create this, put your name. So for me, I'm going to put Keith Norris plus user training project. So put your name in plus user training project. In the department, this is where you would normally select the department that you're in. For the sake of this training video, we want you to select the For Training department. And in the visibility section, this is what controls the visibility of your projects. We want you to select the department, meaning just that department. So this is just going to be seen by the For Training department. Then you'll click Create. The next step, this is very important, is you're going to select a workflow. And the workflow that we want you to choose is the KPI Fire User Training workflow. That workflow will go ahead and create, and it will launch your first project. Now, go ahead and pause this video right now and complete those steps so that you can get to that point where you have the project created for yourself. Go ahead, pause it. Okay, excellent. If you're continuing forward with this video, we're assuming that you have a project. We're assuming that you have a project created, and it looks something like what I see on my screen right here. Now, don't panic if what you see does not look exactly like what I have here on the video. Your administrator or the person training you, the administrator of your account, may have configured your workflow to be just a little bit different than what we see here. So the first screen that we're going to see is the Charter tab. The Charter tab is going to have some boxes on it. I want you to read through those boxes carefully and go ahead and answer any questions or put any data that might be requested inside the box. So in my case here, I see a question that says, what project goals do you plan to use KPI Fire for individually as a team? So if I have some, if me as a user, I'm going to have a couple of strategic projects in here, I'm going to have some continuous improvement projects in here, that would be what I would put in. Now, you're going to put in the projects that are relevant for you specifically. The goal statement area is where you're going to put in, when you're managing a project, what is the goal of this particular project. So in my case right here, the goal of this project is to learn how to use the KPI Fire software to manage my projects. Project scope, anytime you're managing a project, you're going to have the project scope that you can identify, so that's going to be further defined here. Most of the elements on this page are pretty self-explanatory. You can prioritize your project, you can adjust the impact and priority, the effort, impact, and priority. And the other key thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set your dates. This is, even if you're using KPI Fire for just very minimal project management, the dates is usually one of the areas that you're going to set. So let's go ahead and set your dates to be how long you think it's going to take you to complete this training. Typically there's a few follow-up items that may not be completed in the very first day, so let's just assume that it's going to be maybe 60 days to complete this. So now what I'd like to point out is just a few of the other features here of this Charter tab. This heart icon will toggle between red, yellow, and green. This is a button that you're going to be able to use to indicate the overall health of the project. Basically, a status of green means things are good and on track, yellow means watch or warning or some sort of attention, and red is definitely a danger zone. This star is a way to favorite the project. It will just help you find it at later points. And the project status, or this clock, is going to be tied to your completion date. If you have a project that is overdue past the completion date, it's going to start to turn red. Now, as you go through the status of your project and you complete it, you've got a status drop down up here. These are the statuses that a project will typically move through. In our case, we went straight to the project status and we activated it. It is possible to start back at the idea stage. When we went in and put a project in, we just went straight into the active stage for a project. So the next stages for us would be either control or completed. All of these stages down here are going to be inactive stages. Another key area is the workflow. You remember we selected a workflow when we created our project. We used this KPI Fire user training workflow. You may have some other workflows available to you as well. The workflows are going to control what you see on the charter and also what you see on the workflow tab, which we're going to get to next. So the workflow tab, this is going to be where you see basically all of the tasks associated with your project. And from this point forward in the video, I'd like you to follow the tasks that are on your project as opposed to following what I have in this video. The ones I have in the video might differ a little bit from what's in your account. Go ahead and trust the ones that are in your account and follow those. So the first task here says, I have a login and password and I know how to access KPI Fire. Okay, well that's true because I logged in to create this project, so I can mark that as complete. I have created my first project in KPI Fire, so I can also go ahead and mark that as complete. You'll notice that on the status column here, I toggle between to do, doing, and done. I know how to enter a project and complete and edit the project charter. That is also true. Okay, next up is I know how to add another user to a project team. Add your trainer as a user to this project now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the Team tab, and if my trainer is Chris, I can add Chris as a member of my project. Once someone has been added as a member to my project, I can start to assign tasks in that project to them. You'll notice that anybody who's on a project can be given one of these 4 roles as the project leader, sponsor, champion, or member. There's some various different responsibilities, access, and control based on the role that you give someone. This right here is how I control the visibility of a project. So in my case, this project, when I created it, I said it was just for the training department. If I also wanted to make it available to another department, I could select that department here. Flexible project is a setting that allows me to not allow the users of the project to change the workflow. So in this case, I'm going to leave this as flexible, and I'm going to go back to my workflow tab. So now I have added another user to the project team, so I can complete that step. Okay, so next up it says I understand how links work and I am able to use them. Links are over here. These are basically attachments. So KPI Fire allows us to upload documents or associate a link. If you have an intranet where you have files stored that might be relevant to a project, you can just put the URL in here and associate it with the project. If you want to upload a document, you would do that here as well. So I know how to do that. I'm going to check that as complete. I know how to assign a task to another user. What I would encourage you to do here is to assign one of these tasks to that other user that you just created in your account. If you're doing this inside Bench, you can add me, the KPI Fire user, to your project, and you can assign the task to me. So I can mark that as complete. Now it says I know how to mark tasks as complete. Mark any task complete that you finished. Okay, excellent. I'm doing that. I know how to add an attachment to a task. We just did that. Adding a note to a task. This little icon right here is how you will enter a note. You can put any notes down here. So you can put any note that you want. You also have a little button up here that you can click to insert a time and date stamp. So that just puts a little user time and date stamp in to help keep track of who was putting the notes in. So I'm going to mark that as complete. The Project Benefits tab. Okay, specifically when we're talking about continuous improvement projects and we're tracking benefits related to a project, we're going to have benefits. So on the Benefits tab, we have multiple layers of benefits. Everything on the first layer is going to roll up from the levels below it. So if I have hard savings, I can open up by clicking on the title, and I can insert some hard savings on my project, and I can put the actual target, and anything that I put in here, I click Save, and that's going to roll up to my total benefit. We'll talk a little bit more about how to control the project benefits in some other views and a few of the other features here The main thing that I want to introduce with this video is the ability to create the project and to start going through these tasks as your trainer, your administrator of your account who's configured your particular training project is going to have the specific things listed that you need to learn, and as you go through that project, one of the last steps in your project is probably going to be something about notifying the trainer that you've completed this project. So go ahead and pause this video as needed, rewind it, watch it over a couple of times, make sure you're able to complete the training project workflow inside your own account. And if you have any questions, reach out to the person that shared this video with you as your account administrator, and good luck with KPI Fire. Thank you.